3 times, they tried to take her soul. At first, there was a faint sense of tension but not fear. Something important seemed to be about to reveal itself. Anabel realized she was dreaming. It was a lucid dream. She walked through a corridor and each door she opened led her into familiar scenes from the past. Each door felt like an entrance into her own memory. In one of the rooms, 2 young men suddenly attacked her. They chased her, silently and fast. At first, they seemed like ordinary attackers, but then she sensed something else, as if they weren't just dream figures, but rather, guardians of the threshold. Anabel believed that the architect of the dream is the subconscious. It creates complex, layered worlds. And when consciousness starts to awaken within the dream, aggressive entities often appear, as a defense mechanism. That was her own theory, and this case confirmed her idea. The attacks tend to begin at the moment awareness arises. She broke free from their grip and noticed a heavy rubber object shaped like a rounded pyramid with many layers. Anabel instinctively grabbed it, to anchor herself in the dream, and struck the attackers. One collapsed, as if he had no bones inside, soft and spongy, like a fungus. The second fell just as easily. She had noticed before that these beings' bodies were strange, almost hollow. In the next room, she found herself in her grandmother's house. Everything was familiar, the furniture, the colors, the atmosphere. Only the curtains looked slightly faded, as if time had soaked into their threads. Her awareness deepened. For the first time, she wanted to be alone, to do something meaningful inside the dream. No longer running. No longer waiting for danger. But directing her attention where it needed to go. She felt confident and said, "Leave." No aggression followed. The room remained quiet. She moved through a few more rooms until in one of them, entities approached her. They didn't attack. Instead, they started a conversation. They offered her a deal, to sell her soul. They said, it could be done 3 times. Anabel didn't respond. She wasn't surprised by the idea itself, but the fact that one could supposedly sell their soul 3 times, caught her attention. She knew, no contract like that can be trusted. The terms, always deceptive. The result, always the same. One of the entities applied more pressure. It implanted the thought that her mother had wasted her life, implied she was an unfulfilled woman, her efforts meaningless. Their aim wasn't sympathy, it was to provoke shame, irritation, even resentment in Anabel. They wanted to corrupt her image of her mother, to replace love with anger. But Anabel was aware enough. She remembered clearly that her mother was a dignified woman and had never behaved the way the entity suggested. Her mother lived quietly and modestly, never sought external attention. She didn't chase men, didn't live for stimulation or drama, but always knew how to care for her family. That was her truth, and no manipulation could alter it. When that failed, the entities changed their tactic. They inserted a new idea. That her mother was sick, that she was suffering, perhaps dying, and that Anabel had a chance, one of 3, to sell her soul to save her. The entity was trying to force her into saying it out loud, that she would agree to sell her soul, just once, for her mother. Anabel truly loved her mother. And she would have given a great deal for her. But not her soul. She knew, her mother loved her deeply too. She knew, her mother would never allow her to make such a sacrifice. And most importantly, she could see clearly it was a distorted suggestion. The entity was manipulating her. Her mother was a modest woman. She never chased after attention, nor lived for fleeting pleasures. She cared for her family and lived with quiet dignity. All these thoughts gradually formed into a clear understanding. Selling one's soul means going down the wrong path, seeking power and solutions from unknown forces, instead of working on oneself. Anabel realized if a person wants money, strength, or influence, they should better themselves. Study. Practice. Develop awareness and skill. No contract can replace real growth. And strangely enough, it was the entities themselves who helped her construct this chain of logic, who taught her how to separate illusion from value, and to recognize the true cost of every choice. In another room, she found herself in the courtyard of the apartment block where she grew up. The same two entities appeared again. This time, they pinned her body down. She knew this was common just before waking. The body enters a state of sleep paralysis. She tried to call out to herself, "Wake up," and started blinking her eyes. But nothing changed. And for the first time, she decided not to escape but to stay and resist even without movement. In that moment, she woke up. And the fear of being pinned down in a dream was gone. She understood the lesson clearly. This dream had revealed many layers. It showed that consciousness initiates its own tests to check and correct weak points. And if one doesn't run, doesn't bargain, doesn't look away but instead faces it fully, they can wake up as a different person. Stronger. Calmer. Wiser. Creating the space. The inner landscape did not appear at once. Breath lengthened. Time no longer hurried. Water arose, still, deep, filled with light. At the center stood a pavilion, light, open, shaped from wood with a gentle grain. Its eaves caught the morning glow. Around it, clear water stretched wide, stirred by a soft wind. From the pavilion, a curved bridge reached the shore. Its support stood steady, like the footsteps of a master on a practiced path. The planks beneath her feet sounded softly, reminding her of presence. On the shore, unfolded a stone mandala. Its lines moved outward from the center like breath. Each petal had been placed with care and the silence between them spoke more than words. Tall columns stood in rhythm around it, like verses set into the air. Not far beyond rose a temple. Its form followed the slope of the hill. The stone was light and smooth, shaped by time and attention. Within it, silence dwelled, saturated with presence. The sky above breathed gently. Mountains stood in the distance, watching inward. Nothing pressed forward. Nothing sought notice. Everything was where it belonged. She stepped into the mandala and sat at its center. Her spine aligned. Her shoulders rested. The contact with the earth felt clear. The air moved freely, like a thought not yet formed. Her eyes remained open and the sky unfolded before her. When they closed, a star-filled depth emerged. Motion arose from within, from a point beyond shape. Consciousness sought nothing. It simply was.